Made a tiny mistake. I thought I would read just one mafia romance just once. A quick palate cleanser between all the other books that I've been reading. And fast forward a week, I have read 12 books. I have ignored my laundry. I have ignored my plans. I have cancelled my sleep because apparently sleep is optional when a 6'4" emotionally unavailable mafia boss starts falling in love. So today we are ranking every single book in Neva Altaj's Perfectly Imperfect series, from my least favorite to my favorite. And now, before we start, and before anyone grabs a pitchfork or a knife, this is my personal ranking. And if your favorite book ends up near the bottom, then I'm sorry. And please don't send Sergei after me. And if you have somehow never heard about this series, first of all, let's have a talk. Where have you been? Like, why? What? Because the Perfectly Imperfect series follows a different mafia couples connected through the Italian mafia and the Russian bratva and a whole network of people apparently solves every problem with either violence or marriage. And every book can be read as a standalone, but trust me, read them in order. Watching previous couples pop up back into the later books is not half the fun, but most of the fun. Now, these books are dark. We are talking about murder, kidnapping, trauma, graphic violence, torture, abuse, and men who genuinely believe I will eliminate anyone who looks at you wrong is a perfectly reasonable language. So please check the trigger warning before you dive in. All right, let's start with number 12. Worse than getting a arranged marriage, getting your dream husband and then he immediately loses his memory. That's basically ruined secrets for you. Isabel has loved Luca for years. I mean, years. She finally marries him only for him to suffer amnesia after an assassination attempt. And because exposing a forgetful mafia don isn't exactly great for business, she quietly starts running the organization from behind the scenes while pretending everything is perfectly normal. And honestly, the premise is fantastic. I loved watching Isabel step into the leadership role. She isn't helpless, she isn't waiting to be rescued. She keeps an entire criminal empire from falling apart. And that's impressive, truly. However, unfortunately, this was also the first book in the series where I kept checking how many pages were left. The pacing is noticeably slower than the others. The emotional chemistry didn't completely click for me. And while Luca eventually won me over, it took a while. And that said, watching him slowly falling for his own wife all over again was genuinely super sweet. So even though this lands at number 12, I still enjoyed it, and that's actually one of the biggest compliment I can give to the series, because even my last, or you can say least favorite book was still a good read. Number 11, Burned Dreams. This one had one of my favorite premises in the entire series. A mafia bodyguard, a woman who trapped in an abusive marriage, a revenge plot. I mean, sign me up. Alessandro accepts a job protecting Ravina. Twist is that he isn't there because he likes her. He wants revenge against her husband. So naturally, he assumes she is as terrible as her husband until he actually gets to know her. And then obviously, everything changes. The book has one of my favorite moments in mafia romance, and the exact second when the hero realizes, oh, I have completely misunderstood this woman. And from that point onwards, Alessandro becomes ridiculously protective. The problem is that I wanted more tension, more danger, more emotional payoff. Everything was good, but nothing completely blew me away in this book. It's the kind of the book I enjoyed while reading, but I don't find myself thinking about months later about this book. Still, Alessandro is an excellent hero, and Ravenna deserved every bit of happiness she finally got. Now, number 10, Sweet Prison. Okay, um, let's address the elephant in the room first. Okay, yeah. Um, so yes, this is the step sibling romance. If that's not your thing, totally understandable. But if you're willing to give it a chance, then there's actually really emotional love story underneath. Zara has vitiligo, a skin problem, and she has spent years believing she is less beautiful because of it. Massimo has spent even longer quietly loving her, and this book feels different from the rest of the series. It quieter, sadder, more reflective instead of constant action. To be honest, it's about healing old insecurities, learning to accept yourself, and finally letting yourself be loved. Massimo is exactly the kind of protective hero Neva Altaj writes so well, in intimating, the the rest of the world. Like, to everyone, he's just so scary, else but soft only for one woman. I also appreciate the vitiligo representation. It wasn't treated like something that needed fixing. It was simply part of who Zara is. And now, this isn't a fast paced mafia thriller. It's a slow romance, and I think that's why reader tends to divide it on it. And personally, I enjoyed it. Like, seriously, I enjoyed it. I just connected more deeply with the other couples. And one quick tip from my end: read this book close to Darkest Secret, or Darkest Sin. These stories overlap beautifully, and you will appreciate both books even more. Number 9, Darkest Sin. You know how every series had that mysterious character everybody wants a book for? That was Guy. Guy grew up in the same brutal assassinating, training program as Sergei. I barely understands normal human emotions. He's quiet, detached, efficient, basically a ghost, until he meets Mira, a veterinary student. One random act of kindness completely changes his life, and from that point onward, his entire world quietly begins revolving around her. What I loved about Kai is that his devotion isn't loud. He isn't making dramatic speeches every 5 minutes. Instead, he watches, protects, waits. His love is patient, almost painfully so. And Nira also deserves more credit than she gets. She's kind without being naive, strong without constantly trying to prove it. She balances Kai perfectly, and the only reason this isn't higher on my list is the pacing. The story jump across different timelines. Some readers absolutely love that structure, but personally, it occasionally interrupted the momentum for me. And still, watching Kai slowly learn what love actually feels like was incredibly rewarding. And if you're already fallen in love with Sergei, and if you read his book, seeing more of that assassin world is a huge bonus. Number 8, Paint and Scars. Yes, the book, and if I can say, this is the book where it all started, where it started the addiction. Roman is a powerful mafia boss recovering from an assassination attempt. Nina is an artist with trauma of her own who agrees to become his fake fiance. And honestly, their dynamic is adorable. Nina decides the best way to survive the mafia world is to act like a dramatic, spoiled person, and she commits to it bit so hard that I was literally laughing out loud. Meanwhile, Roman is standing there like, the woman is clearly pretending, and I love her anyway. What really sold me was how gentle he is with her. Mira has a fear of men. So Roman literally makes his men sit down around her so she feels safe. So that's not a mafia boss anymore. That's a husband. Uh, the disability representation is also handled beautifully, and the grumpy sunshine energy is exactly what I want from a series opener. So, if you're new to Perfectly Imperfect, start here. Number seven, Broken Whispers. This book is basically Beauty and the Beast with the Bratva. Mikhail is the Bratva's feared torturer, scarred, intimidating, emotionally damaged. Bianca is a mute Belerian focused into an arranged marriage with him. And here's the part that destroyed me. Mikhail has secretly loved her for years. That's so sweet, right? Like he literally secretly loved her for years. Like he used to go to her, dances where she used to perform, and he used to leave this rose flower uh, in her van. So yeah, that's very cute. And this terrifying man turns into the sweetest person on earth whenever Bianca is around. He learns how to communicate with her. He protects her without trying to control her. He gives her space to be herself. And Bianca, she is not fragile. She has so much quiet strength. There is a scene involving her abusive father that had me cheering at my screen. Like, so her father slaps her in his office, and she comes out, and Mikhail saw this handprint on his cheek, and she just, let's just say the scene is so brilliant. Mikhail just go and just beat his father up. So yeah, it was really good. And this book feels less like a mafia romance and more like a story about two lonely people finally finding someone who sees them. It is so good. Number six, tonal touches. Okay, controversial opinion time. I know this is many readers' favorite book in the entire series. This is even my favorite book in the entire series, and I completely understand why. Salvatore is cold, calculating, and emotionally disconnected from humanity. Then he watches nurse Melanie help deliver a baby in a parking lot. 1 smile later, and this man is basically gone. Not normal gone, mafia hero gone, which means secret surveillance, overprotectiveness, breaking into her apartment to stock her fridge, acting confused about why he's suddenly making life choices around one woman. Salvatore's obsession is peak dark romance behavior, and somehow Melanie handles him perfectly. She changes him, teases him, and refuses to be intimidated. Also, this man hates cat but gets a cat because she likes them. That alone deserves a 5 star. The only reason it's not higher for me is that the competition became ridiculously from this point onwards. And I'm sorry. Number five, Fractured Soul. Check trigger warnings into this, guys. This is the darkest book in the series. Seriously, check trigger warnings. Asia escapes horrific abuse and trafficking. When Pavel finds her, she is completely broken and convinced she is beyond saving. Pavel is a former fighter who has no idea how to help someone this traumatized. So he does the only thing he can. He stays. And the small details in this book absolutely broke me. Like, he stops wearing suits because they remind her of her abusers. He gives her choices. He waits for her to trust them. He never pushes. And this isn't a flashy mafia romance. It's a healing story. And it did make me cry internally more than once. Its emotional impact were the only ranking criterion. This would be fighting for number one. Number four, Precious Hazard. After Fractured Souls emotionally destroy me, like Precious Hazard felt like being handled a cocktail and told me to enjoy the chaos. Because chaos is exactly what Tara brings. Arthur expects a sophisticated, obedient mafia boss. Tara looks at that expectations and says, absolutely not. The Planter in this book is top tier. She provokes him on purpose. He gets increasingly fascinated by her. Every argument feels like flirting with knives, and watching Arturo slowly realize he is completely obsessed with the one woman who refuses to obey me. Chef's kiss. There is this so Tara is one of my favorite heroines in the series because she never loses herself. She doesn't become smaller to fit into his world. He has to make room for her, and that's just so fantastic. Number three, hidden truths. Let's talk about Sergei. Where do I even begin? Sergei is what happens when childhood trauma, assassin training, and zero emotional regulation all move into same apartment. This man is unhinged, genuinely terrifying, and somehow also one of the most devoted heroes in the series. Angelina, meanwhile, grew up around cartel violence and has seen enough darkness that Sergei doesn't scare her, which completely short circuits his brain. He basically takes one look at her and decides, yes, you are mine. Their relationship is chaotic in the best possible way. They both are damaged, they both understand darkness, and they somehow create this weirdly beautiful safe place for each other. Also, Sergei's possessiveness is legendary. This book is the book that made me realize Neva Altaj is dangerously good at writing morally questionable. But number two, Silent Lies. This book's own real estate in my brain. Drago is a brutal Serbian mafia boss. Sienna is sunshine in human form. She walks into his life and immediately starts charming his staff, his soldiers, and even his dogs. And Drago is just stand there internally panicking. What makes this book special is the humor. Drago's internal monologue is incredible. He keeps insisting he doesn't understand Sienna, doesn't trust surprises, doesn't want his life disrupted, while simultaneously buying her rare gemstones because she once admired colored glass. So that's not confusion. That's how love or marriage works. So let's say he falls first, he falls hard, and he calls her my sparkling wife. And I felt it. This is one of the lighter books in the series, but the romance is perfection. If someone asks me for one book to convince them to read, Neva Altaj, then I would definitely say that Silent Lies would be my answer. I would love people to read Silent Lies of this series before I would recommend any other book. And now, number one. Finally, my number one, the grand finale. The book that closed out this incredible series, Frozen Heart. We have been waiting for Adriano's book. Literally, I was waiting for his book, and the expectation was enormous. And when his story finally arrived, the fandom split in half, right? Like some readers said he became their favorite hero, when others felt the book don't fully line up to the hype. Personally, I was obsessed. What makes Adriano different is that his love isn't loud. Sergei is explosive. Drago is accidentally adorable. Salvatore is obsessively protective. Adriano is quiet. He notices everything. He remembers everything. He is morally grey, calculative, and willing to manipulate situation if it means protecting Iris. And underneath all that, this man is basically losing his mind over one woman, and it's not the loud, possessive, obsessive we have seen from Sergei or Salvatore. It's quieter. He solves her problem before she even knows they exist. He remembers tiny detail about her life. He keeps finding excuses to make sure she is okay. Acts of service become his love language. And honestly, those moments were some of my favorite. The romance is slower than many people expected. A lot of the book focuses on his trauma, therapy, and his struggle to connect emotionally. And some people found those sections repetitive. I actually genuinely appreciate them because this is one of the few mafia romance where the hero is genuinely trying to heal or understand himself. Now, I do understand the criticism about the ending feels rushed after such a long emotional build up. I wanted slightly a payoff, but the journey still worked for me. Adriano isn't the flashy hero in the series. He is one who chooses her quietly, consistently, and completely. And that hit harder than expected. And that's my full ranking of Neva Altaj Perfectly Imperfect series. And honestly, even the book near the end were still 4 stars read for me. So don't even think that since they are at the bottom, so they are not worth it. They are worth it. And that's how strong the series is. If you're new, start with Painted Star. If you want chaos, read Hidden Truths. If you want kill and kick your feet, read Silent Lies. And if you want emotional damage, read Fractured Soul. And if you want to join the fandom debate, read Frozen Heart. And tell me whether Adreno deserve the hype or not. Now, I need your ranking in the comment section because I already know that at least half of you are about to tell me that Stolen Touches should be have been at the higher point. And honestly, you're probably right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when I inevitably lose my mind over the next book. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy reading and take care.